And what's going on, guys? I'm Call here, coming at you with the kind of updated Doom Raid guide. This is going to be obviously geared more towards my specific alliance, but still kind of just general advice as far as kind of what to plan for in the Doom Raid. I was a little hesitant to kind of offer any speculation on Doom Raid content prior to actually running the raid itself, and I've kind of had the opportunity now with the 3 different accounts to basically look at it from kind of a late game perspective, a launch late game perspective, as well as kind of a mid game / beginner perspective. So we are currently still on mini call, so this is still the baby account of the 3, and, just kind of looking here at the Doom Raid, our goal obviously was to get to 30%. So first and foremost for the Alliance, I think we did a really great job as far as just, attempting this content. It is new content, and considering we just hit U7.5 last week, it was definitely an ambitious attempt, and I think we are probably, maybe about another month away from a future attempt, but kind of to help prepare for that and kind of get ourselves in a better situation, we hit just shy of 10%. Obviously, the goal with this was 30%, and, just kind of looking down here, poor little mini call wasn't really able to do much, and there's quite a few reasonings behind that. Mini is definitely not in the position to basically be super effective in the Doom raids. Definitely some potential to assist. Call and Dracarys were definitely kind of in better places, but even on those 2 accounts, there was definitely some things I could work on. So I wanted to kind of take a look at a infographic that is posted on our Discord, and I'm just going to pop this up right here. So, looking at this infographic, it kind of breaks them down into the different sections. And with the node we're going through, we are looking basically at the tech and the mystic sections first. And so I'm going to kind of talk about these 2 teams because I think these are the 2 teams that we should be focusing on to build. And, like I said in my account update, I do still think that Dark Dimension, whether it be Dark Dimension 3 or Dark Dimension 4, should be the higher priority for your resources. I think if you plan some of your Dark Dimension 4 and Dark Dimension 3 teams, you'll find that some of these Doom Raid characters are actually pretty good Dark Dimension characters as well. So I'm going to look here at this first section, which is tech. Now, there's obviously some characters that people, do not have, especially with the Alliance being, essentially 9 months old, and a lot of the players kind of being in that range. So some characters I would say are definitely, you shouldn't be passing up on. Kestrel, phenomenal, Shuri, as well as Ghost. Now, these other 2 characters is kind of where it gets a little tricky depending on where your roster is. And, if you don't have Dr. Octopus, I would definitely say Ultron would be a good substitute. And then obviously no one in the Alliance has Doom, so I think Minerva would be the good substitute for that. So, I think this team is kind of looking like, Dr. Octopus, Shuri, Minerva, Kestrel, and then Ghost. And I think kind of the way this team would really work is, especially with Kestrel, putting those defense downs, Ultron summoning his bots, and basically kind of attacking those defense down targets, and kind of have Kestrel basically spamming her little passive ping. You'll also then have some ability generation from Shuri. She'll be providing some healing. Ghost can basically extend those defense downs with her ultimate, as well as possibly apply them with her special. And then you've got Minerva here, who is healing. She's got a res component. So I think that is really kind of a cool tech character or tech team to go with. The next team, and this is kind of where I ran into issues on Kale and Dracarys, and it's kind of where I got stopped, is the Mystic section. And I would say probably the character that most people do not have, obviously, again, in this section, is going to be Dr. Doom. And I think the great substitute for that is going to be Silver Surfer. Now, the character that I originally, had talked about these Doom raids and had kind of said, oh, I don't really think he's worth bringing, is going to be Mordo. However, after actually experiencing the raid and kind of going into it, with all of the healing that goes on in the Mystic section, mainly with Squirrel Girl, I essentially I know exactly now why Mordo was recommended, and I'm going to put him back on the recommendation list. The other character that people may or may not have, I believe most people in the Alliance unlocked Ebony Maw. Minnie was not in the position to do that, not for the star level. My characters were starred up enough. I just didn't have the time to build up the characters. So Minnie is actually missing Ebony Maw. So I will be probably bringing in Ghost Rider as my alternative fifth character. And he's a possible character I guess I could bring into Dark Dimension 3 as a city character. So what I would recommend with these first two teams, these should be the priorities to be built. And, with several of these teams, so for example, with our tech team up here, Kestrel, phenomenal in Dark Dimension 4. Ghost, the same thing. Minerva, still very good in Dark Dimension 3 and Dark Dimension 4 for the Cosmic section. Shuri is certainly a possibility for the Legendary section. So 3 out of these 5 characters are prime Dark Dimension candidates. So again, no wasted resources. Down here, again, kind of depending on where you are, Hela, definitely a good Dark Dimension character. Thanos and Maw, great Dark Dimension 3 characters. Thanos I haven't liked as much in Dark Dimension 4, but Ebony Maw, definitely a great Dark Dimension 4 character for the Legendary section. And then again, Surfer, again, another wonderful Dark Dimension character. So, while I do say, you should be working on Dark Dimension first, a lot of these characters are Dark Dimension characters, so you can kind of do them in tandem. I would kind of suggest for characters that are not going into, obviously, Dark Dimension 4, maybe you're bringing them up to G14 as you are able. The Dark Dimension 4 characters, obviously, if you can get them to G15, all the better. The next section, which I think is a little bit more of an easier section, is going to be Mutants. Jubilee, we are hoping to pass back around kind of in the next, I think it's about a week and a half now. Hopefully we will get a blog post saying that Jubilee is returning. If you unlock Jubilee, the Axemen are the hands down winners, I think, for the Doom Raids. And then it's also suggesting kind of as for the boss node, this is a nice alternative. So the Axemen obviously will be a great raid team for you overall, especially while we are not running Doom raids kind of 7 days a week. They are a great U7.5 team. And then over here for your mini boss nodes, I would say the Dad Bros are great Dark Dimension candidates. Sinister and Emma are also great Dark Dimension characters. Phoenix, I think, has dropped off a little bit as far as a Dark Dimension character, in my opinion. I don't think she's as good in Dark Dimension 3. I think it is actually better to bring in the Pym trio, basically Stature, Yellow Jacket, and Ghost. I think they do a lot better than Phoenix. However, I do still think Phoenix is a great candidate for the Dark Dimension 4 Legendary nodes. Next section after that is Bio, and I don't really think I need to talk too much about Bio. It's the Symbiotes. Great city characters for Dark Dimension 3 and 4. Depending on kind of what you're doing gear-wise, priorities I would say would be Symbiote, Spider-Man, and Anti-Venom kind of share the number 1 slot. And then depending on where you are gear-wise, either Scream or Carnage. Scream is going to be the cheaper choice. I think Carnage is the slightly better choice, but again, it just kind of depends on where you are gear. And then lastly, skill. This is kind of where there's a lot of room for interpretation. Kestrel, again, if you have already worked on her for Cosmic as well as the tech section, she's already built up. Night Nurse is phenomenal in Dark Dimension 4. You've got Red Guardian over here, who is going to be good for that skill event that is upcoming. So I think he is a good candidate. And then kind of you've got 2 spaces left to fill in. And I kind of, as I've been playing more around with Kestrel, I really like Nick Fury with Kestrel. So I think that's who I'm planning to bring with. And then as my 5th character, Baron Zemo, just because he is a great Dark Dimension character. So that's kind of what I'm suggesting as far as these characters. Gear Tier 14, I think, would be kind of a good place to stop, and then we can test and see how it goes, with the exception, obviously, of the Dark Dimension characters. So moving back over to the account, I'm going to show Mini first, and because Mini is definitely the more hectic one as far as like what's going on, and then I'll also show Kale, just kind of what Kale is working on. Obviously, Kale has way more of the resources than Mini does, but it is what it is. Kale has been playing basically since launch, so there's resources I obviously have. I am on the city section in Dark Dimension 4 for Kale, so really all I'm working on is my legendary team, and so I basically have a lot of extra energy, so I'm basically using my extra energy to farm those characters, and I'll kind of show that off when we go back over to that. So I'm going to get rid of this infographic. I can do a link to it if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're obviously a part of the Alliance, it is on our Discord page in the Doom Raid tab. So kind of looking over here, what I've done to kind of keep it so I don't have so much clutter, at least on the normal kind of front page, because basically if I had all those teams on the front page, my favorites would be all like crazy cluttered, and I don't like that. So basically what I've done is if you actually go in and if you look at a character, you've got the ability to kind of favorite them for versus mode, and that's kind of what I use for like my Dark Dimension / my Doom Raid character logs. So if we look in here, we actually have some characters that shouldn't be in here anymore. Actually, going back, let me put Multiple Man back in here. Multiple Man I'm still on the fence on him for Dark Dimension 4 for Mini Call. But anyway, so let's go back into our verse battle favorites. So we're looking here, and then you can then further filter this down to basically look at the individual sections. So I'm going to look at tech first because that is the first node we kind of go into. So we've got 4 of my 5 tech characters up here, and it's going to be these 4 right here. And the only reason that Ghost is not in this lineup is because Ghost is already G15, so I don't really have anything else to work on for Ghost. So basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working on these characters as I kind of need them for Dark Dimension 4. So, like I said in my kind of account update, Kestrel is my next one to get worked on. So I'll work on Kestrel, get her to actually G15 is the plan for her. And once she is kind of at that point, I can then move on to the next character, which I believe will be Minerva. Minerva is, again, another Dark Dimension 4 candidate for me. Following that, I will then work on Shuri, just because, again, Shuri for Mini is a possible Dark Dimension 4 candidate. Mini is a little bit lacking on the legendary situation, so she might just be the legendary I take in just by default, just because I don't have any others to take in. So the next one, what we are looking at is going to be Mystic, and kind of our Mystic section, it is a bit messy, and that's because we are not in our verse favorites. So boom. All right. So then we've got our 5 Mystic characters. Are basically the ones I'm planning to take in for the Doom Raid. We've got Surfer, Hela, Thanos, Mordo, and Ghost Rider. Again, priorities for this one are going to be Surfer and Hela over here, and then following that we'll just kind of go down the line. And just for this one, I don't plan on taking these 3 characters into Dark Dimension, so there's really not much of a priority on them. So I'm just going to kind of work down my way until, basically the easiest way to go. So Thanos will need the least work, then Mordo, and then Ghost Rider. Our next section is going to be Mutant, and I am planning for the mutant section to have Jubilee unlocked with her next pass. So we will then start working on the Axemen. The good thing about my Axemen is, for the most part, they are already, a combination of G13/G12. So they won't need very much work. And, again, Jubilee, I'm planning to take to Dark Dimension 4, so that'll be fine on that end. And then just kind of the last two sections, Bio, again, it kind of goes, without saying. Symbiotes, pretty simple. Again, I don't have Carnage and Venom on here, and that's just because I'm actually not too sure why I don't have them on here. They actually should be, so let's add them to that list. Carnage and Venom are not in my Dark Dimension 3 or 4 plans, at least for the first run. Definitely maybe for the second run, but I do want to kind of take them up to at least G14. They are all G13, so they won't need very much luck to G14, but again, the priority will be to get to Symbiote Spider-Man, Anti-Venom, and Scream to actually G15. Once that is kind of accomplished, then I can kind of start working on Carnage and Venom over here. The last little section of this little setup is going to be skill. So we're going to scroll down here. We will already have Kestrel kind of done for a combination of Dark Dimension, as well as she'll have already been worked on for the tech section. Baron Zemo will be done as well. So my next priority for skill will be Night Nurse. And again, she is planned to be used for Dark Dimension 4 in City. Following that will probably be Red Guardian and then Nick Fury. And that's just kind of the way I'm planning to work on these guys. So again, I'm kind of doing it in the order that the raid goes. So we're looking at Tech, Mystic, and then we go over to Mutant, Bio, and then Skill. Like I said, for myself, the priority is Dark Dimension 3 and 4, more so Dark Dimension 4, because Dark Dimension 4 is going to help me in the Doom raids overall a lot more than just building up for the Doom raids now. So I would say, kind of do it in tandem. Try to plan your Dark Dimension characters so you also have characters that are going to help you in these Doom raids. But that's all I got for this. Again, I want to say, phenomenal job for the Alliance in accomplishing what we've accomplished in such a short amount of time. And then just to switch over real fast, just to show over on Kale, just kind of where Kale is, kind of in the same process. If you look over here, kind of imploring that same system where I've got the verse battle. And some of this you are going to see cluttered with some Dark Dimension 4 characters, and basically for the most part my Dark Dimension 4 characters that I'm still working on are these 3 legendaries right here, as well as Dr. Octopus. Anyone else that is in this little section is here because they are a Doom Raid candidate. So, again, kind of just the same thing. I'm working on my tech section first. So, when we're looking here, when I'm looking at tech characters, again, I'm taking them to G14. So I'm working on Shuri just because she's almost done. Once I'm done with Shuri, I will then switch over to Kestrel, finish her off. And, I'm planning to use, I think, Kestrel also for my second run in Dark Dimension 4. I think she'll make that go a lot faster. Mystic, which is where Kale actually ran into a problem, and I actually kind of got stopped on that boss node. So the only character I need to take up to G14 in the Mystic section is Baron Mordo. So basically at this point, all I have to do is just level him up to 75. And then I am planning, anyone I'm taking into the Doom Raid, I am leveling all the way up to level 80 as well. And I didn't mention that earlier. So I would say kind of the Doom Raid requirements, level 80, gear tier 14 for the non-Dark Dimension 4 characters. For the Dark Dimension 4 characters, definitely G15. But, and then I'll just, kind of do the rest with the remaining of those characters. So following the Mystic section, I will then work on my mutants and kind of build up my Astonishing X-Men a little bit more, finish building up some of my symbiotes, and then finish the skill section. But so that's all I got for y'all for this Doom Raid prep. We will have more information on the Alliance Discord as far as when the next Doom Raid is planned to be. Again, congratulations everyone on accomplishing what we've accomplished. Try not to get too discouraged by the fact that we only hit 10%. The fact that we were able to hit 10% at all is, I think, phenomenal. We were just in U7.3, I think, about a month ago, and we're already attempting a Doom Raid. So I think that was great. Let's keep up the great progress. If anyone has any questions about Doom Raid, feel free to reach out on the Doom Raid channel on our Discord. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hope you are having a good week, and take it easy.